Okay, so I hope that any one of you watching this video haven't seen a walking human tangerine who spreads nothing but hate, misogyny, homophobia, bigotry, and racism in the gaming community, and then justifies this disgusting behavior by saying that I am fighting against wokeness actually. Well, you will be surprised to know that such human tangerine exists, whose name is Varadark.
CD Projekt Red is too busy chasing those sweet ESG dollars to really pay attention to the people that they're hiring, and so far things have not been going well for The Witcher 4. Absolutely mind-boggling to see somebody who needs us so that he can have a job come out and say these terrible things. Without gamers, you would not have an industry to work in. Without gamers, you would not get a paycheck, so you'd think they'd have a shred of respect for us, but they never do. And just yesterday, initial statements he made, there's a lot here. Oh, by the way, he also said that he was a games consultant for 2.5 years. We don't know at which company. I would certainly be interested to find that out, unless of course he really wasn't. But he's posted over the past couple of years things like this. I am once again asking for you to stop being toxic little weirdos. Of course, if you do not share the same opinions as these people, if you dare to not be politically correct, they call you a toxic little weirdo, which is just terrible. He also basically said that dealing with gamers is harder than something like law school. Okay, then leave the industry. You don't have to be a part of it. You don't have to deal with gamers. You can go and work at 7-Eleven for all I care. But when you sit here and you disrespect us, you're going to be called out for it. And it gets so much worse. He's complaining about how being a games journalist is so hard, saying if you think this job is so incredibly well paid, it's not, and easy, it's not. Why don't you just do it yourself? Kotaku journos get $75,000 a year. That's insane. That's a lot of money. And it is relatively easy. Let's be honest. What are they doing? They're sitting down talking to developers. They have to type up those interviews. They have to add a little bit of commentary. They should be writing game guides, meaning they'd actually have to play games. But instead, all they really do is put out gamer hit pieces, but they still get paid for it. It's so funny to me that these people constantly whine and moan and groan and complain, and then wish violence upon us but expect us to swipe our credit card. In particular is not just disheartening, but legitimately frightening. Now, after generalizing players as, incels, he then points to specific examples and rightfully derided individuals who are trying to trigger a seizure in the former Game Informer writer Liana Rupert as deplorable. And sure, these things are not okay at all whatsoever. Like, you should not be doing that on the internet, but he, of course, makes this about how gamers are just terrible people, not, oh, there's like this small group of people who are doing this thing, that's not okay, that's not cool. He calls you incels. However, he then also claimed that 2077 were harassing so-called trans people. He wrote, I wonder if they realize that by harassing trans writers who have rightfully and justifiably critiqued 2077's haphazard and sometimes harmful representation of trans people, okay, that they themselves are the exact kind of people that Cyberpunk is designed to destroy, unempathetic, depraved proponents of a regime designed to foster irreversible and indiscriminate misery and technophilic dystopia. A bit later, he then declared the people who perceive 2077 as some impenetrably perfect game, the vast majority of whom haven't so much as played a single second of it, are a gross testament to the members of society it and the cyberpunk genre genre at large paint as antagonistic, so he just is so focused on calling us terrible people, poisonous, and predatory, and these are the types of individuals that CD Projekt Red hired. Okay, he wrote this article about a CDPR game in 2020, and they hired him in 2023. So either they didn't do their due diligence and they didn't actually look into his history, or they did and said, you know what, he was a big critic of ours. Let's hire him so we can put the representation he feels strongly about into our game going forward. He can consult on the content, and he moved up the ranks really quickly. It's not like he's just starting as a junior dev. He's a franchise and lore designer. That's a position that you would think somebody would take years and years and years to get into, but that isn't the case. CD Projekt Red is a very questionable company at this point, and sure, they can make really good games, and ultimately, I say this all the time, radical leftists can create really amazing content. It should not matter what your political leaning is. If you can leave your personal politics at the door when going to work and you can just create a really awesome experience, that's what matters the most at the end of the day. But it's clear, at least in my opinion, I don't think that they didn't know his past. I think they certainly looked at his history. In my opinion, it's clear that they're hiring certain people who they feel can propel them forward in the name of progression. Somebody who has criticized their representation in the past that can give them what they think is like a new, clear outlook on their products and their writing. And it's just sad to me that they are hiring people who hate their audience. So I, of course, will continue to keep my eye on this individual, but he is just a genuinely terrible person, calling gamers unempathetic, poisonous, incels, and he also has admitted to wishing violence against us. But that's all that I really had to discuss in this video. Let everyone know your thoughts in the comments below. If you enjoyed this, give it a like.
Do you know that why Mahir said that? Well, the answer of that is really simple. He said that because of bigots like you, Melanie Mac, and synthetic man. Because you know, Miss Tangerine, whenever any video game releases which has got a woman in it, an LGBTQ character, or a black character in it, then you and countless comebacks like you starts to bark about that how the company's forcing their product down your throat, and that how so-called woke culture is being normalized. You fuckers then harass the developers and the people who worked on those games by sending the actresses death and rape threats. Basically, you scums are blatantly racists, homophobes, and misogynists. But you fuckers will never admit that. Oh, I am not racist, but a black main character should not exist in any media. I am not a misogynist, but a woman should not exist in any media. This is the kind of attitude which Varadark and all the anti-woke reviewers have. You know, Miss Tangerine, maybe instead of whining and taking offense due to a statement which is definitely nothing more than sarcasm, try to do some introspection, because I can guarantee that the venom which you and all the anti-woke reviewers have spewed for minorities is far greater than what Mahir actually said. Ever thought about that? People like you are the reason that why Mahir and Tatty Gabriel resort to give such remarks about gamers. Because you assholes have spread so much toxicity and negativity in the gaming community that the reputation of gamers has been ruined all over the internet. So you cucks have no fucking right to whine that devs and journalists can't handle criticisms about games. Cause you fucks only bark about modern games having women, trans and black characters as protagonists. And you label this clownery as criticisms. Do you fucks even have any idea that how much hard work the people who make video games possible do in order to make them work? Software engineers, graphic designers, writers, voice actors, environmental artists, character designers, animators, etc. work and give everything they have to make a game with the hope that it will satisfy gamers and also that if there are any flaws, then they will get to hear valid and relevant criticisms about it. But what are good for nothing so-called reviewers do in the name of criticisms? Oh, why the fuck the devs added a black character in this game? Boycott this woke BS. This is your criticism, huh? And then when anyone working in these studios criticizes gamers for being toxic, then you fucks bark about that nobody respects us. Like, first take a look at yourself, then accuse others for not tolerating your shitty ass criticisms. Like, it's understandable if someone is criticizing a game on the basis of its plot and gameplay, but you piece of shits are literally making long ass videos in which you rant about that how existence of a LGBTQ side character whose screen time is barely 10 minutes is the reason that the whole game is trash. Like, what the actual fuck is this nonsense? And if somebody points out your shitty behavior, then you call them woke leftists. Clown, left wing and right wing has got nothing to do with this. This is simple common sense which your brain, which is full of shit, can't comprehend. Like, even I absolutely hated The Last of Us 2. I still don't like it, and I have even got videos about it on my channel. But in those videos, I have criticized the game because I didn't liked the game's writing and plot. But I didn't whine about for hours that how Abby and Ellie being lesbians is a disaster for the gaming community. Because that is how criticism of video games should work. But you fuckers have done nothing but spreading hate for black people, for women, for the LGBTQ community in the name of reviews. I never thought that I would say this, but IGN makes trillion times better review videos than you scumbags. I know sometimes their reviews and ratings can get really stupid, but at least they don't bark and whine about characters being black or trans while openly being racist and misogynistic. Like, can you imagine for a second that a writer decides to write a woman main character for a game's franchisee because the gaming industry has been dominated by men since its beginning. So making a woman protagonist will send a positive message in the society and will probably inspire more women to get into gaming. But as soon as any game like this is released, then all the misogynistic piece of shits emerge out of nowhere with their shitty takes. And you know what is the most sad and painful fact? That even women are included in this. Shameless clowns like Vara and Melanie Mac to whine about women being main characters and ugly despite being women themselves. Peak pick-me behavior, honestly. So fucking shameful. Instead of barking in every video about video games having pronouns, black characters, trans characters and women, do something positive on your shitty channels for fuck's sake, instead of spewing venom and negativity 24/7. And if you wanna do criticism so bad, then criticize games properly on the basis of gameplay and plot, instead of barking in every video that how DEI is the source of all the evil in the world. Phew. Alright, I hope you enjoyed this video and I will see you all in the next video. Take care and bye bye.